Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are diving deep into the fascinating story of the Czech Republic 20 Koruna coin, a denomination that may appear ordinary at first glance but actually carries layers of national history, political transformation, artistic symbolism, and modern European identity, because the 20 Koruna is not just money. It is a reflection of how the modern Czech state emerged from centuries of change, beginning with the historical roots of the koruna itself, which evolved from earlier Austro-Hungarian monetary systems and later became a defining symbol of sovereignty after the peaceful separation of Czechoslovakia in 1993, when the newly formed Czech Republic adopted its own currency to assert economic independence, and the 20 koruna denomination quickly established itself as one of the most practical and widely used coins in daily life, bridging the gap between small change and banknotes while remaining durable, convenient, and instantly recognizable. And the decision to issue this coin was not random, because it was designed during a time when the Czech nation was consciously shaping its post-communist identity, choosing symbols that emphasize stability, democratic tradition, and cultural pride, which is why the obverse and reverse designs were carefully selected to communicate meaning rather than decoration alone. And on the obverse side, the coin traditionally features the crowned Czech lion, a powerful heraldic emblem that has represented Bohemian lands for centuries, symbolizing strength, sovereignty, and continuity, reminding every user that despite political upheavals, the cultural core of the nation remained intact, while the reverse side clearly displays the denomination and date, rendered in a clean, modern style that reflects the country's forward-looking mindset after decades of centralized control. And from a technical perspective, the 20 koruna coin is typically struck in a copper-nickel alloy, chosen for its resistance to wear, corrosion, and deformation, ensuring that the coin can survive decades of circulation without losing legibility or aesthetic appeal, which is especially important in a high-use denomination that passes through countless hands every day, and collectors often underestimate such coins because they lack precious metal content, but this is precisely where the historical importance lies, as circulating base metal coins tell a more authentic story of everyday life than commemoratives or bullion pieces, and the minting process itself reflects the Czech Republic's commitment to precision and quality, with consistent diameter, weight, and edge design that make the coin easily distinguishable by touch, an essential feature for vending machines, public transport, and the visually impaired. And when you place the 20 koruna within the broader European context, its significance becomes even more interesting, because unlike many neighboring countries that adopted the euro, the Czech Republic retained the koruna, making the 20 koruna a quiet symbol of monetary independence in an increasingly unified Europe, and this decision continues to influence how the coin is perceived both domestically and internationally, as tourists often encounter it as a tangible reminder that the Czech economy follows its own path while remaining closely integrated with the European Union. And over the years, variations in minting quality, die wear, and circulation conditions have created subtle differences that collectors can study, such as sharper strikes from early years, cleaner fields on low mintage issues, and surface characteristics that reveal how production volumes and economic conditions fluctuated. And while most 20 koruna coins remain affordable and accessible, certain years in high-grade condition or with minting anomalies are becoming increasingly desirable among modern European coin collectors, especially as fewer people save circulation coins in pristine condition. And this first chapter of the 20 koruna story sets the foundation for understanding why a seemingly simple coin can embody national identity, economic policy, artistic choice, and daily human interaction all at once, transforming it from spare change into a historical document written in metal. And this deeper perspective is exactly what allows collectors and viewers alike to appreciate the Czech Republic 20 koruna not merely as currency, but as a living artifact of a nation that successfully navigated transformation while preserving its cultural soul. As we continue deeper into the story of the Czech Republic 20 koruna, it becomes clear that this coin is also a product of careful institutional planning and economic philosophy, because behind every circulating coin stands a central authority responsible for maintaining trust, stability, and continuity, and in the case of the koruna, that responsibility lies with the Czech National Bank, which assumed full control over monetary policy after the dissolution of Czechoslovakia and played a crucial role in shaping the modern Czech currency system, including the 20 koruna denomination. And this period was especially sensitive, because the early 1990s were marked by rapid privatization, inflationary pressures, and the challenge of transitioning from a centrally planned economy to a market-based system, meaning that every design choice, alloy decision, and mintage volume had to balance practicality with public confidence, and the 20 koruna emerged as a stabilizing presence in everyday transactions, offering durability and familiarity at a time when people were adjusting to new prices, new wages, and a new economic reality. And the choice of iconography once again played a psychological role, because the Czech lion was not only a historical symbol but also a reassurance that despite political change, the nation's identity and continuity remained unbroken. And this symbolism resonated deeply with citizens who had lived through decades of ideological shifts, censorship, and restricted freedoms, making the coin a subtle yet constant affirmation of sovereignty in daily life. And from a numismatic standpoint, the production standards of the 20 Koruna during this era reflect a strong emphasis on uniformity and machine readability, as modern minting technologies were employed to ensure compatibility with vending systems, public transport ticketing, and automated payment infrastructure, which required tight tolerances in weight and diameter, and this technical precision is one of the reasons why genuine mint errors on Czech circulation coins are relatively scarce compared to some other countries, making any confirmed off-metal strikes, die cracks, or misalignments particularly interesting to collectors. And another often overlooked aspect is how circulation patterns influence condition rarity. Because the 20 Koruna is heavily used in urban centers like Prague and Brno, where constant handling leads to rapid wear, while coins circulating in smaller towns or rural areas sometimes survive in better condition due to lower transaction volume, creating subtle geographic survival differences that advanced collectors occasionally observe when sourcing examples. And as the years progressed, changes in metal sourcing, planchet preparation, and die maintenance resulted in slight variations in surface texture and luster, which are invisible to casual users but meaningful to collectors studying die states and production consistency. And these micro details transform the 20 Koruna into a study piece for those interested in modern minting processes rather than traditional precious metal collecting. And internationally, the coin also gained recognition as one of the most stable non-Euro European denominations, often cited by economists and travelers alike as evidence that a national currency can coexist successfully alongside the euro without sacrificing efficiency or credibility. And this perception adds an extra layer of historical relevance to the coin, because it represents a conscious monetary choice rather than a temporary transitional issue. And for collectors outside Central Europe, the 20 Koruna offers an accessible entry point into Czech numismatics, as it is widely available, affordable, and rich in context, allowing one to build meaningful collections focused on condition, year sets, or production nuances rather than high cost. And when viewed through this lens, the 20 Koruna becomes more than a modern circulation coin. It becomes a case study in how a nation uses everyday money to communicate resilience, independence, and trust, reinforcing the idea that even base metal coins struck in large quantities can carry profound historical weight when examined with patience and understanding, setting the stage for an even deeper exploration of varieties, circulation behavior, and collector value as we move further into its numismatic journey. As we move further into the numismatic depth of the Czech Republic 20 Koruna, the conversation naturally shifts from historical formation to collector perspective, rarity dynamics, and how this modern circulating coin quietly develops long-term value potential, because one of the biggest misconceptions in coin collecting is that only old or precious metal coins matter, while in reality, modern base metal coins like the 20 Koruna often provide clearer insight into real circulation survival rates, minting efficiency, and economic behavior. And when you examine the 20 Koruna closely, especially across multiple years, you begin to notice that although the design remains largely consistent, subtle differences in strike sharpness, surface finish, and edge definition reveal changes in minting conditions and production priorities over time. And these differences are crucial for collectors who focus on condition rarity, because a coin struck for mass circulation is rarely preserved in high grade unless intentionally saved. And since most people in the Czech Republic use the 20 Koruna daily for transport, food, and small purchases, the vast majority of coins quickly develop contact marks, smoothing, and edge wear, making true uncirculated or near-gem examples far scarcer than mintage numbers would suggest. And this is where collector awareness becomes essential, because while millions of coins may have been struck in a given year, only a tiny fraction survive today with full mint luster, clean fields, and sharp line details. And as cash usage gradually declines due to digital payments, fewer people are setting aside fresh coins, further reducing the pool of high-grade survivors. And from a variety standpoint, the 20 Koruna also offers subtle yet fascinating areas of study, including minor die rotations, weak strikes caused by die fatigue, and differences in relief sharpness that can often be traced back to specific production batches. And while dramatic mint errors are uncommon due to strict quality control, confirmed errors such as off-center strikes or incorrect planchet thickness are highly collectible precisely because of their rarity. And these pieces stand out strongly within collections of modern European coinage. And another important factor influencing collector interest is the Czech Republic's decision not to adopt the euro, because this means the 20 Koruna continues to circulate as a national symbol rather than becoming a discontinued legacy issue. which keeps public familiarity high while also preserving long-term collecting relevance. And historically, coins that remain in use for decades often experience declining mintages toward later years as economic conditions change, vending technology evolves, and demand stabilizes, which may create future key dates that are not obvious today. And this pattern has already been observed in other long-running coin series around the world, making the 20 Koruna an excellent candidate for forward-looking collectors who understand that tomorrow's rarities are often hiding in today's loose change, and when collectors begin assembling year sets or condition-focused collections, they also gain a deeper appreciation for the craftsmanship involved in modern minting, noticing how consistent weight and diameter allows seamless machine recognition while still preserving aesthetic balance. And this dual requirement of beauty and functionality is what defines modern circulating coin design, and in that sense, the 20 Koruna becomes a textbook example of how contemporary mints balance economics, technology, and symbolism, offering collectors not just an object to own, but a story to study, and this analytical approach transforms the act of collecting from simple accumulation into historical investigation, where every small detail contributes to understanding how a modern nation expresses itself through money, setting the stage for an even more focused discussion on long-term value trends, market demand, and how collectors around the world are beginning to reassess the importance of modern European circulation coins like the Czech Republic 20 Koruna. As collector interest in modern European coinage continues to mature, the Czech Republic 20 Koruna increasingly stands out as a coin whose long-term significance is only beginning to be understood, because value in numismatics is not driven solely by age or metal content, but by a complex interaction of mintage behavior, survival rates, collector psychology, and historical context. And when these factors are applied to the 20 Koruna, a clear pattern emerges that mirrors the early stages of many now respected coin series, particularly those that were once dismissed as too common to matter. And one of the most important elements influencing future desirability is the way the coin has been distributed and circulated over time, because unlike commemorative issues that are intentionally saved, the 20 Koruna is overwhelmingly used in daily transactions, meaning that most examples experience rapid wear, repeated contact, and environmental exposure, and this heavy circulation ensures that truly high-grade pieces become exponentially rarer with each passing year, especially those retaining full mint luster and crisp detail on the lion's mane, crown, and shield. And another layer of complexity comes from production logistics, as coins are struck in large batches and released into circulation unevenly, often concentrated around major urban centers such as Prague, where public transport systems and cash-heavy tourism accelerate wear, while coins distributed to smaller towns may circulate more slowly, subtly affecting condition survival in ways that are rarely documented but deeply relevant to advanced collectors. And when you combine this with a gradual decline of cash usage across Europe, the paradox becomes clear. Fewer coins may be minted in the future, yet fewer people are intentionally preserving them, creating the exact conditions that historically lead to overlooked key years. And this phenomenon has already been observed in other long-running coin systems, where late-date circulation strikes later became unexpectedly scarce in top condition. And from a market perspective, international collectors are beginning to re-evaluate Central European coinage, recognizing that countries with stable economies, strong national identities, and independent currencies often produce circulating coins that gain cultural and historical relevance beyond their borders. And the Czech Republic fits this profile precisely, as its decision to retain the Koruna reinforces the continuity of denominations like the 20 Koruna, making them long-term national symbols rather than transitional artifacts. And this continuity enhances collectability because collectors are not merely acquiring obsolete currency, but pieces of an active monetary system that reflects ongoing national policy. And within specialist circles, attention is also turning towards subtle die characteristics, including micro-cracks, die polish lines, and strike softness in specific areas, all of which allow experienced collectors to classify coins by production phase rather than just by year, transforming the 20 Koruna into a subject of technical study rather than casual accumulation. And while dramatic errors remain rare due to strict quality control at institutions such as the Česká minkovna, confirmed anomalies command strong interest precisely because they represent failures in an otherwise highly controlled process, making each verified error a unique snapshot of modern minting reality. And this scarcity of errors amplifies their appeal in the market, as collectors increasingly seek individuality over bulk. And perhaps most importantly, the 20 Koruna serves as a reminder that modern coins should not be judged solely by current market prices, because numismatic value often emerges decades later, once patterns of neglect, survival, and rediscovery become clear. And in this sense, today's ordinary pocket change becomes tomorrow's historical evidence. And for collectors with patience and perspective, the Czech Republic 20 Koruna offers an opportunity not just to collect, but to observe numismatic history in real time, watching how a modern nation's everyday money gradually transitions from functional object to cultural artifact, carrying with it the economic choices, technological standards, and social behaviors of the era in which it was struck. As the story of the Czech Republic 20 Koruna reaches a more reflective stage, it becomes essential to step back and view this coin not just through the lens of collecting mechanics or market trends, but as a cultural artifact that captures how a modern European nation presents itself to its own people and to the world, because coins are among the few objects that combine art, authority, and everyday utility in a single form, and the 20 Koruna exemplifies this perfectly by blending centuries-old symbolism with late 20th century pragmatism, and when we examine the crown Czech lion once more, we realize that its presence on a mass circulation coin is a deliberate statement of continuity, drawing a direct line from medieval Bohemia through the first Czechoslovak Republic, the socialist period, and finally into the democratic Czech state. And this continuity is especially powerful when you consider that millions of citizens interact with this symbol daily, often without consciously noticing it, yet subconsciously absorbing a shared national identity reinforced through repetition, and unlike commemorative coins that celebrate specific anniversaries or personalities, the 20 Koruna performs a quieter role, reinforcing stability rather than spectacle, and this subtlety is precisely why such coins become invaluable to historians and numismatists in the long run, because they reflect what a society considered normal, essential, and worthy of constant visibility, and from an artistic standpoint, the balance between heraldic tradition and modern minimalism on the coin reflects broader trends in post-Cold War Central European design, where excess ornamentation was replaced by clarity, functionality, and symbolic efficiency, mirroring architectural, graphic, and industrial design movements that emerged during the same period. And this makes the 20 Koruna not only a monetary object but also a design document of its time, preserving aesthetic values that defined the Czech Republic's re-entry into the European cultural mainstream. And when collectors decades from now study these coins, they will not simply see alloy composition and mint dates, but evidence of how a nation consciously shaped its public imagery after regaining full sovereignty, and the role of institutions like the Czech National Bank becomes even more significant here. Because central banks do more than regulate interest rates and inflation, they also act as custodians of national symbolism, deciding which images circulate in the hands of citizens and which narratives are reinforced through daily economic interaction, and by consistently maintaining the core design of the 20 Koruna, the Czech authorities communicated reliability and trust, values that were especially important in a society transitioning from decades of systemic uncertainty. And on a human level, this coin has witnessed countless small moments of life, paying for tram rides, groceries, coffee, newspapers, and school supplies, passing through generations, pockets, purses, and tills, absorbing where patterns that silently record economic activity, population density, and lifestyle habits, and this is why heavily circulated coins are often more historically honest than pristine proofs, because their scars and smoothing are physical evidence of real use, and for future researchers, analyzing circulation wear on surviving 20 Koruna coins could offer insights into urbanization, cash usage decline, and even tourism intensity during specific periods, especially in cities like Prague, where coins experience accelerated turnover due to constant exchange between locals and visitors. And when we consider the long-term fate of physical currency itself, the 20 Koruna occupies a particularly interesting position, because it exists at the crossroads between traditional cash economies and an increasingly digital future, and as electronic payments continue to expand, each surviving circulation coin becomes a snapshot of a fading transactional culture, making ordinary coins more historically significant with time rather than less. And this paradox challenges the assumption that modern coins lack meaning, because in reality, their importance grows as their everyday function diminishes, transforming them from tools into testimonies, and for collectors who approach numismatics as storytelling rather than speculation, the 20 Koruna offers a deeply satisfying narrative, one that speaks of independence without isolation, tradition without stagnation, and modernity without erasing the past. And this broader cultural and historical perspective elevates the coin beyond catalog numbers and market prices, inviting viewers and collectors alike to appreciate it as a compact historical record, silently preserving the values, choices, and identity of the Czech Republic during a pivotal era. And this understanding prepares us to fully appreciate the final stage of its journey, where legacy, future perception, and long-term significance come together to define what the Czech Republic 20 Koruna will ultimately represent to generations yet to come. As we arrive at the final phase of the Czech Republic 20 Koruna's journey, the true legacy of this coin becomes clear, because its importance is not measured only by catalog listings, market prices, or grading labels, but by the way it quietly bridges past, present, and future within the everyday life of a nation, and when historians and collectors look back on the late 20th and early 21st centuries, coins like the 20 koruna will serve as primary physical evidence of how societies functioned. Before digital transactions fully replaced cash, preserving in metal the rhythms of daily commerce that once defined modern life, and this makes the 20 koruna especially valuable as a historical witness, because it was struck and circulated during a period of rapid global change, technological acceleration, and political stabilization, and yet its design remained deliberately calm, restrained, and rooted in tradition, offering a sense of continuity in an era often defined by disruption, and this balance between change and consistency is what gives the coin its lasting resonance, as it reflects a nation that chose gradual evolution over abrupt reinvention, and for future collectors, this context will matter as much as mintage figures, because numismatics is ultimately the study of human behavior expressed through money, and the 20 koruna encapsulates how the Czech people interacted with their economy, their symbols, and each other during a transformative period, and from a long-term collecting perspective, the coin's fate will likely follow a familiar pattern seen throughout numismatic history, where common circulation issues gradually disappear from daily use, with only a fraction surviving in collectible condition, leading later generations to wonder why such an important and widely used coin became surprisingly difficult to find in high grade, and this process is already underway, as cash usage declines and older coins are withdrawn, lost, or recycled, reducing the pool of available examples year by year, and when this scarcity intersects with renewed historical interest, values tend to rise not because of speculation, but because of genuine demand from collectors seeking tangible connections to a specific time and place, and in this sense, today's overlooked 20 koruna could become tomorrow's key representative of post-communist European monetary history, studied alongside other significant national issues from the same era, and beyond collecting, the coin's legacy also extends into education, because it provides an accessible way for younger generations to learn about national symbols, economic systems, and historical continuity, offering a physical starting point for conversations about sovereignty, design, and identity that textbooks alone cannot fully convey, and as long as the koruna remains in circulation, the 20 koruna will continue to perform its original function while quietly accumulating historical weight, but even if one day it is replaced or withdrawn, its meaning will not diminish, because its story will already be complete, preserved in collections, museums, and memories, and for collectors watching today, the opportunity lies not just in acquiring coins, but in observing history as it unfolds, recognizing significance before it becomes obvious, and understanding that numismatic value is as much about narrative as it is about rarity, and the Czech Republic 20 koruna tells a narrative of resilience, independence, and thoughtful design, encapsulating a nation's journey in a small, durable disc of metal, and with that final reflection, the story of the Czech Republic 20 koruna comes to a close, not as an ending, but as a lasting testament to how everyday money can become extraordinary history, and thanks for watching.